wonderful 6-month party, an explosion of colour, the painted faces on young and old alike. A coming together of so many countries to exchange culture and cuisine. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Now, what if I said to you back in 1988, in this area here, you could catch a train and take a trip through thick, lush rainforest and into the Aussie outback? I could only possibly be talking about the Queensland Pavilion. And as dyed-in-the-wool Queenslanders, it was no surprise to us that our very own pavilion was also one of the most popular. The kind of place that everybody had to see at least once. How proud we were, with the Queensland Pavilion becoming one of the success stories of the Expo 88 International Trail. Punters experienced a kind of magic carpet ride from beach to reef and bush to experience the sometimes extreme natural attractions of the Sunshine State.
The neighbouring Australian Pavilion was also a must-do.
Step right up and discover all of the wonderful things there are to see and do in the Australian Pavilion, the Aussie PAV for short.
And back in the day, this retelling of an Aboriginal Dreamtime legend was considered very high-tech.
They come say that our creator, that rainbow serpent.
As a dynamic duo, the Queensland and Australian pavilions well and truly lived up to Expo 88's slogan and theme song.
But Expo 88 was as much about the world showing us as us showing them. More than 80 countries and states and corporations set up shop here, providing a mini cultural revolution that took us well beyond our own backyards. We sampled everything, from a real winter in the Swiss pavilion to treasures from the Vatican.
Stand in the place where you live, now face, think about direction, wonder why you have it now. Stand in the place where you were.
So exciting to be able to see things like the Vatican, and the fact that the Vatican sold slippers with gold papal bees on them. You know, all sorts of weird and wonderful things were just laid out there for you to go and look at.
Since the first World Fair was held in London in 1851, expos have primarily been about unveiling inventions. Whether it was the newfangled contraption called the elevator, first seen at the New York Expo in 1867, or the Eiffel Tower, built for the Paris Expo of 1889, Expo visitors have always expected to be amazed. So when it came to 1988, technocentric Japan was always going to embrace Brisbane's official Expo theme, which was leisure in the age of technology. And, courtesy of the Japanese, we saw, for the very first time, an amazing and futuristic broadcasting development called high-definition TV.
We'll be together tonight.
88 was my favourite year, I reckon. I got married, I changed jobs, and the new job was at South Brisbane, and I got picked for Australia. I had 4 months to fill in before I went to Pakistan, and Expo filled it in beautifully. 2 or 3 times a week, lunching. The German beer hall probably got the biggest workout. Of course, we only watched people do the chicken dance. Never ourselves did we do it before 10 p.m. on a Friday night.
Conservatorium over there. This is the spot. I'd really love to do the dance that was one of the big reasons everybody came here to what was then the Munich Festhaus. But you know, there's no big stein of beer to enjoy, and it is broad daylight, and perhaps I'll just let you remember for yourself.
If there's one thing we locals took to with great gusto, it was the international food and drink on offer. At the German beer house, we drank tankards of ale, we scoffed plates of sauerkraut, and we waggled our tail feathers in that great social leveller, the chicken dance, the one we're still doing at weddings today.
It was like an enormous pub, and it was the most amazingly crazy thing with the spontaneous chicken dancing, which meant you flapped your wings so that whole office groups started to flap their wings, so that people in the street flapped their wings, and it became a kind of code for I've been to Expo.
With more than 80 different restaurants and cafes and pubs, Expo visitors planned entire days around where they would sip and sup. The cuisine was gobsmacking in its variety.
I think it really quite happily showed us that other people could eat different food and not die. It didn't have to just be chops, mashed potato and frozen peas.
Even if we just wanted a quick burger on the boardwalk, the way we dined at Expo changed the way Brisbaneites would eat out forever.
Outdoor dining was something that we always thought we should be able to do in Brisbane, but we couldn't because of state government regulations, and powers that be were very worried about us being carried off by flies or poisoned by the dust or whatever. But with Expo, we realised that you could eat outside, and it was a wonderful thing to do, and people really loved it. So after Expo, we really started this great movement to let outdoor dining happen.
Coming up next, the Expo entertainers. A face that looks very familiar.
The big news is, a little birdie told me this, right?
And some secret identities revealed.
Well, I was at school at the time and all my friends and I had the season passes so we could go whenever we wanted to. And I think the good thing was all of our parents thought that it was somewhere safe for us to go, so we were allowed to go whenever we wanted, and we loved it. There was always something different to see. You hardly ever saw the same act twice, and there was just so much fun and joy and liveliness there. So we loved it. It was always a thrill.